So I wondered if you wanted to pick that up again. Do you remember what it was?
I'm trying to remember.
Hospital, the pastor, sometimes they
Yeah,
say,
the camp I went for, and then the
Yeah.
pastor said,
You shouldn't take
in
your-
such
you-
an atmosphere like this, I
Yes.
cannot relapse. Yes, and
And you did.
I did relapse. It was very bad, and that's when I realized I have to have a balance.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's for example, when I'm taking my medication, I pray on it before I take it, because I am just telling God that He should bless this medication so that it will work as effectively as it should. That shows me that I am believing that God would eventually heal me, and He's continually healing me every day. So I shouldn't just, somebody told me something and I just believe them. That person may not really understand that there's a medical aspect to it. So since that time, when I meet other Christians who are trying to be, yes, very thoughtful, nice and everything, personally, I have my own belief that, look, even if maybe somebody is doing me from the spiritual realm,
As it were.
yes, even if somebody is doing me, okay, now it has manifested in the physical. I should also do some things to work on it. So I'm doing both my spiritual and then my physical side, so that at the end of the day, I'll get the right results I want.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. Isnam, you want to?
yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry, Cecilia, you want to add to that?
Yeah, exactly. And to add to what Esinam is saying, you know, there's in the Ghana they have an adage. Is it an adage or a proverb? They used to say "Lo pifite wonu," like so many meat in the soup doesn't really spoil the soup. You know,
Right.
yeah. So combining both your spiritual aspect and your medication, it doesn't really contradict itself.
Right.
Yes, and I think sometimes, you know, stigma also comes to play their role when taking the medication. Sometimes can play a really big trick on your mind. For instance, there are certain side effects that come with taking the medication. I can't remember when I started taking the medication, I gained a lot of weight. I wasn't so plumpy like this.
Me too. From 68 kilos to now, I'm like 99 kilos.
Yeah.
A lot of weight.
Yeah. And one person in my community back then told my husband that, why are you still married to this woman? Look at a nice woman who has now become like a 50-year-old woman. Why are you still staying with her? If it were to be me, I would have left her long time. You can imagine the social stigma.
Right.
And that could play a trick on you. You would even say, then why continue with the medication? Because gaining weight is associated with it. But when you gain deeper knowledge into the condition, you realize that when you weigh the pros and the cons, you look at the advantages and the disadvantages, you wouldn't listen to things like that.
Right.
Because when you don't take the medication, when I wasn't taking, I was walking around naked on the streets. You know, sometimes people could come and be covering me with clothes. And I thought I was clothed. But people covering me with clothes definitely shows that I was naked. So would I want that, not take the medication and be going through such situation, not being stable, not being able to relate to people, and people pointing fingers at me? Would I want that? Or would I want to take the medication, be stable, maybe gain a few weights that I can even work on it, you
Exactly.
know, not to exceed too much. I can work on weight gain. So when you look at these things, you will not listen to things that people say, but sometimes they can get to you.
They
Yeah.
really can.
Their stigma can really, and
Body
that's
shaming.
that's something as a country we have to
Really work on.
work around.
Yeah.
Aside funding that is not being put in mental health, stigma also has a role to play when it comes to things like this.
Yeah, because it's stigma that will prevent you from asking for help.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You
And
know.
research even has it, you know. There was a research, I think, that was conducted in the USA, and adults from age, let's say, 30 and above, testify that they are unable to access treatment for their mood disorder due to stigma. So you see, things that people say can affect them to the extent that they would not want to even be seen around a psychiatric
Correct.
hospital.
Correct.
because of the stigma. So if we're able to eliminate this from there,
Yeah.
so there are so many people out there who would want to access treatment
Yes.
and get well
Indeed.
instead of locking them. Some are being locked
Yes.
actually in rooms, shackled, chained.
Yeah.
You know, so we have more to do.
Yes,
And we
indeed.
thank God that right now we are gaining knowledge and,
Mhm.
and education. And we thank people like you, you know, in the field, inviting us. It's a great opportunity.
Well, we're very pleased that
Yeah.
you came and you had the courage to come and speak with us. So
Yeah.
we're really, really
Yeah,
grateful.
it's part of the education which will really help.
Yeah, and normalizing mental health. I think that the
Yes.
more, if I told Cecilia, oh, tomorrow I'm going to see the dentist, she'll
Mm-hmm.
even be excited. Oh, I've never been to see a dentist. I'm excited. But the moment you say, oh, will you escort me to go and see a psychiatrist?
Mm-hmm.
You see that the person's attitude toward the mood will change. It's like, I don't want to go there because people have so many, I don't know, erroneous impressions about going to see a psychiatrist or a psychologist. And for me, I want it to be so normalized that's why I actually created my YouTube channel, Mental Health Quarters, so that we can
Mental
talk
health
quarters, like
quarters.
like headquarters, quarters.
Okay.
Yes, so that we can talk about mental health and it will be so, like, the more you see something, the more it looks okay to talk about and to encourage someone else to seek treatment. So, for example, where I got fired from my job in 2019, all because I said that I disclosed to one of my bosses that I had this condition. In less than 24 hours, she told all the members of management, and I got fired. And I believe that, like, one of the things they said at that meeting was, they are firing me from this job because I could be a threat and a danger to the kids. So it would be better for me to go and look for another kind of job. And the person who said that was the school counselor. And and you see, that was the first time I felt the sting of stigma. But if, let's say, every time we reach October, I like the way everybody makes noise about breast cancer awareness. Everybody's wearing pink ribbons. It has become so normalized that I don't think if people want to go and seek treatment for breast cancer, anybody will stigmatize against them. But when it comes to mental health, bipolar disorder, and other mental health conditions, because the noise is not being created, there's so much stigma attached to the whole thing. So maybe, for example, Cecilia is okay with me being her friend and all that. She knows I have a mental health condition. But let's say if Cecilia's brother wants to marry me, that's where the fear comes. What if her brother marries me? Does it mean one of our children will have the condition? So yes, people are getting educated and all that, but when it comes to real life situations, that's when you see people's fear. They are worried that this person, like, they are so worried. Someone is going to marry someone. Like, do you want to marry this girl? Are you not worried that people are so concerned about certain things because they've just heard about the condition, but they haven't really gone to read it and realize that, this thing, yes, it's something I'm dealing with, but every day I'm just like you. I try to be the best version of myself. Let's say whatever you have to do, I have to put in twice the efforts. But at the end of the day, it doesn't disqualify us from the race of life. We are all in it together. So it's high time that people don't just hear about mental health, but actually accept people and accept them and love them and empathize with them throughout the journey and throughout their challenges and be there for them. Don't discourage people and make them waste time going to seek other channels, and by the time you realize the person's condition gets worse, and then they start saying, we said it from the beginning, it was spiritual, somebody's doing you.
Yes. So this is just a very explicit explanation, if you like, of what stigma is like. It's really explicit, and that was most unfortunate. Most unfortunate. And I think one of the things is to be able to challenge these kinds of occurrences. Like, how long had you worked in this place?
For 5 weeks. And you see, when I even got the job, I realized that, the level of stress was very high. So from the beginning, I knew that this is not a place I should continue working at. It's not healthy for my it's not good for my mental health. So when I was working, I told a friend of mine, look, I want to resign. And this person was like, oh, why don't you stay till the semester ends? But I knew within me that this job is not healthy for me. And even when I wanted to go into this teaching thing, I had my own agenda. I wanted to teach because we close school in the afternoon, there will be vacations. So I thought, when you get this job, it's not a regular 8 to 5 job. It's not stressful. But in the private school system, the level of stress on teachers is very high. So doing that, commuting to work every day, getting home late, taking your medication, having to wake up early, and stressful environments, toxic environment. I knew I could feel it. Like within me, I was feeling worn out. I sleep, but the quality of sleep it's wretched. I knew that something was wrong.
Right. So in just the 5 weeks, you had actually realized that this was not a good place for your mental health.
I just knew because I was always tired. And how I ended up disclosing to a member of management was because they saw me doze off at a meeting twice. Me, I thought I was awake. But, one of my doctors says, when you have a mental health condition, you can contain like other people, but it gets to a point where it starts seeping through the cracks. So in as much as everybody was going through stress at their school, I didn't understand how come mine was showing, like it was manifesting for others to see. So when they called me, I felt like, look, it's high time I come clean. Because at the time when I used to hunt for jobs, when they ask for the spots where you have to write whether your medical history, I never knew what to write because I knew that the moment I write bipolar disorder and mental health condition, no one is picking me. So I didn't want to write that. I managed to get the job by God's grace. I learned a lot from where I worked. But when I realized that, look, this thing, it's just better you speak the truth. And at that time, I was a champion for the Time to Change Global projects. We had gone through training. And I remember one thing they always used to tell us, nobody should make you feel worthless or isolated because you have a mental health condition. So I was ready for whatever was going to happen. They fired me. It didn't break me. It even motivated me to start my YouTube channel. And after that, I realized that, look, stigma, it depends on how you want to see it. Sometimes nobody is stigmatizing people, but they are stigmatizing against their own selves.
Right.
So if you have a mental health condition or you know someone, check up on them. Like, do a self-assessment. Are you living a life knowing that you are happy and you are well, or you are stigmatizing your own self? When opportunities come, you say, oh, it's not meant for me because I have a condition. This is not good for me. No, you just have to realize that, yes, stigma may come in one way or another. You can fight it, fight against discrimination because it will stop you from doing a lot of things in life. Sometimes people complain that their doctors seem to be stigmatizing them or discriminating against them. Sometimes it could be your own mind playing tricks against you in the sense that you're already stigmatizing against yourself. So it's not what somebody will say about you that really changes anything. So you need to cure that self-stigma so that when somebody else stigmatizes against you, it doesn't get under your skin. And there'll be times that even from your own support system, yes, those people were supporting you in the beginning, but they get tired and may pass one offensive comment. Right. Sometimes asking questions like, have you
taken your medicine?
Yes, maybe you are extremely happy. Sometimes you just want to be yourself, but you immediately people think that, hey, her thing is coming. Right. It's coming. It just puts a lot of pressure on you, and you don't really live for yourself.
We only have about 5 minutes left. You guys are so full of good, great information. Yeah. I might have to have you back here next week.
We'll definitely come.
So much information. So you just hold the thoughts there about how it really feels like to be living with bipolar and people being watchful over your every thought and every word and worrying.
Yeah, they say they are protecting you.
Yes, and exactly, like
out of love.
Yes, making sure that you don't have another episode. How do you prevent another episode, and how do you monitor yourself so that you know yourself if there's a relapse coming?
Yeah, so
Cecilia.
One time there was a question similar to what you've asked that, and I was like, whenever you are in a building, for instance, an office area or a workplace, you set up certain, should I say, strategic plans around, like you have a fire alarm, you have a fire extinguishers, so you have certain strategies put in place so that in case something wrong should go on, you have a solution to it. The same thing when you're going through a mental health condition. You have to set certain things straight. We are not always depressed. We are neither always manic. There are most times actually you are stabilized.
Right.
So when you're stabilized, try to create make your conscience clear, as in quality rights they have something called your recovery plan. So in this case, when you're stabilized, make sure that you put certain things in place. Your people around you know that, okay, when she's stabilized, this is what she does. Make it clear. If it's possible for you to write them down, state them down.
Like take your medication daily, exercise, eat right, sleep at the same time every day, get enough sleep.
Know your stresses and your triggers.
Know your stresses.
You can write them down.
These are my stresses. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
These are my triggers. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Yes.
So whenever maybe you are not going according to those things, people around you can quickly assess and say that, oh, okay, she's not too well, and they may not do it in an offensive way because you've stated your
it's like a will.
Clear. Yeah,
a living will.
Exactly. And I think that helps because it also helps those around you, because sometimes not necessarily they wanting to put you in an uncomfortable situation, but sometimes they do not, they're helpless as to how best can they assist you get well. So I think putting certain measures in place assists you in throughout this journey.
Right. So you have your support system around you. They know exactly what you're going through. They know when things change, and they can step in and remind you and say before it's too late. And if they get to you too late and you're already in a fully blown manic situation, they can assist. They know exactly what to do to assist.
Because sometimes even though people can cause or maybe trigger your condition, you still need people around you. You can't say you are on your own on this journey.
Right.
Really, you can't be on your own. So you still need the people around you. So it's better maybe you make things clear for them also to know what to do at the right time.
And self-care.
Yeah.
Self-care. Sometimes people think you need money, a lot of money to do self-care, like a lot of money to go on a trip abroad or something. Sometimes little things, going to get your nails done, watching a movie, de-stressing, and making sure that every time you are stressed out, you have a plan to go and de-stress instead of accumulating everything. And you never, and some people, I don't know, it's different from everybody. Some people say they know when an episode is coming. Me, when I'm getting depressed, I know. But when I'm getting manic, I don't know. You see?
And I understand that when you're getting manic, it's a very nice feeling sometimes.
So you want to stay there forever.
You do.
Yeah. Me, I don't enjoy it because I know there are consequences when you recover. So the mania, like, it's like someone has taken over your mind and your body, and it's controlling you to do the things that you wouldn't want to do. It's when the episode is over, it's like it's gone out and you are now back to your normal self. So I think self-care is very important. Just make sure that you are taking care of yourself, go for your review appointment. Some people think, oh, when they are doing fine, they don't need review. Why should I go and see my doctor every week? They don't understand that you don't just become successful all of a sudden. There was a time I was going for review every week. Then it became every 2 weeks. Then it became every 1 month. Now I'm doing 3 months, and I'm looking forward to when I'll go for only once a year.
Yes, booster session.
Yeah, so it's like I'm working towards something, but people don't understand. They feel like when they go and sit down, it's the same questions they ask me. Some people can even tell you they know the questions the doctor will ask them, and it's a waste of time. But it doesn't work like that. Sometimes going to see someone and talk to them, you actually feel much better by the time you are done.
Right, and then you're reminded of the things you may not have done, which you should have done as well. Wow.
Interestingly, just a quick one. What I've noticed is that when you are more educated yourself on your condition, when you visit the hospital, it's not like a question and answer. Like you actually interact with
it's
the
a
doctor.
conversation.
Exactly.
I mean, I can just see the two of you in front of your doctor. I can just see.
Sometimes they'll say, well, Mrs. Ashale, you know, I can see that you are well abreast with your condition. So
Therefore.
So, you know, so if you have to, like Islam say, apart from self-care, you too, take it upon yourself to learn more about your condition.
Right.
YouTube, you know, there are a lot of
resources. I have to go to Essie's
Esinam's YouTube channel, Mental Health Quarters.
Mental Health Quarters, and read up.
A lot of education from there.
That's right.
And people should learn to stop comparing their road to recovery. Like, for example, if I'm seeing Cecilia doing well, there will be a time when you also do well. If I should tell you, my parents should tell you how, like, it felt like I was hopeless. But today I'm so full of life. So just know that it gets better. If you are really committed to the journey, you'll get there. Don't look at somebody who was doing well and then say, why has the person relapsed? You sometimes the road to recovery, it's rough. Yeah, it's never consistent. Sometimes you can even be on your medication, taking note of your triggers and stresses. All of a sudden, you have an episode, and you feel like you have fallen down from a mountain. But you need to just realize that things happen. Things may not always go as planned, but once you are back to yourself, you need to continue and keep doing well on the journey.
Yes. I have to say that I don't know where the time went, but we're 4 minutes past our time. I have to say that I'm so excited about this conversation that we've had. I am just in awe of your recovery and the things you know about your illness. You are in fine company, as you know. One of the best prime ministers of Britain had bipolar disorder. Our first woman pilot in Ghana had bipolar disorder. I think
other celebrities.
There's been
Kanye West, Demi Lovato, Mariah Carey, Ted Turner, the owner of CNN. There's a lot of people out there.
You're in fine company.
Jean-Claude Van Damme. A lot of people. It's like a club.
And so on that note, I wanted us to leave on a high note, and we'll continue tomorrow. On Monday.
Okay.
We'll think through the things that you've shared with us, and I know that there's a lot more you want to share with us.
Yes.
So we'd love to have you back next week.
We'll be here.
Thank you. Listeners,
having us today.
we're the ones that are thanking you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you. So listeners out there, it's been a real pleasure to have Esinam and Cecilia with us. We're really, really pleased at all the information they've shared and the opening up of the conversation into stigma, into faith. And we only just had like a few minutes on each of these big topics, so we're going to come back full steam. next week and talk about them. Thank you very much. Good night.
Asaase Radio.
Asaase News on the Hour with